supporters of the bill, various groupings had gone in there to defend, and a few other groups have also gone in there to oppose. One of the groups that were defending the bill, the draft bill at the time, is the Catholic Bishops' Conference. The president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference has joined me on the line. Most Reverend Matthew Gyamfi, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yesterday, the House of Parliament passed the bill against LGBTQI, the promotion and practice of same. As a church, what is your reaction hearing that?
Well, generally, the bill that is passed is what the church was also asking for. Generally, we wanted same-sex activities and relationships to be abolished from our country because it's not part of our culture, it's not part of our religion, and most Ghanaians from the survey that was done didn't like it. So that is what Parliament has done generally, and therefore we think generally what the church was asking for and what the church was expecting Parliament to do, Parliament has done that generally. And we agree with what they have done.
When you keep using the word generally, it presupposes that there are some specific issues you have issue with.
Yes, you see that we were talking about the implementation as priests, as a church, and as a body that deals with human beings. Punishment that should result from those who infringe on this law. What sort of punishment should be given them? And Parliament says, once you make the law, and I don't do this, and somebody infringes upon it, the person should be punished. There are punishments. So that was where you heard that you were talking about criminalization of this activity, and the church was saying we should be very, very slow, and if possible, not to criminalize it. And that is why I'm saying that even though they have condemned, they have abolished it, the punishment seems to be more in line with a crime that has been committed, as we heard Parliament. And that is of some concern to many people, especially Catholics, and the way we view human beings and the way we view punishment. And that is why I keep saying, generally, yes, the abolition, we are completely in favor, but the punishment that is associated with those who infringe on the law is a little bit of concern to us. But this is Parliament, and people have their views here and there, and many people send in things. So we cannot have it all. We still have suggestions to make as to how this punishment could be implemented.
So is it your view that there should be no punishment at all, or the punishment should not be in the mode or form that it is? Currently, it is up to 5 years. Are you saying that it should not be custodial, the punishment should be in another form, or there should be no punishment at all for engaging in LGBTQI or promoting it?
You see, punishment, from our understanding, and here again, once again, I'm speaking as a clergyman, is the purpose of punishment is three main things. First is to scare people so that they don't do that again. Again, it is to correct the person who has committed the offense. And then the other one is to inflict some pain, once again, which is related to the first reason, so that other people seeing this punishment will not commit this thing. And we think that in case of this particular law and the way it's being implemented, being placed in prison as the punishment that they have chosen, it is not going to solve the problem. Because, you see, if you run up same-sex people And you know that our prisons, they are going to end up in the same room. And what is going to prevent them from going through these activities in the prisons? And you are not going to put them there forever, because they're going to be there for 3 months to 6 months. Then they may practice this. And then they come out even more experts at it than when you send them there. Then you release them back into society. So what is going to happen? That is why we were concerned about a punishment that will correct them, that will reform them. So if the government is going this way or parliament is going this way, that's why I'm saying we are suggesting that in the prison there, they should add more the corrective and reformation or reform measures to these people so that they come out and they have changed. They have been reformed, or at least many of them, or at least they have been taught so many things about this behavior and how they got in there, so that they come out better than when they entered. But if they come back worse than the situation in which they entered, then we are all in trouble. And that will not achieve the goal that we are all looking for.
What would you rather happened? So instead of custodial sentence where they are sent to prison, what would be your alternative?
Yes. So the alternative is this. It may be very slow, but it will work to some significant degree. You see, that is why the law also says those who promote this behavior, and that means they are going against this law that Parliament has now made. Those people to be punished. Those are the ones to be criminalized. The promotion and the encouragement to people to get involved in this. If they stop that, then many young people will not learn this behavior. They won't try it. And therefore, those who are going into this behavior reduce significantly, as it used to be in the past. It has always been there. But because it was not being promoted and people look on that this is not part of it, those who were naturally or so-called naturally not inclined, they would not even experiment with it, let alone to get addicted to it. So that will reduce the number. And those people who promote it should be criminalized. Now, those who already get involved in the real act of behavior, now we hear and we know that there are counseling centers, even medical disciplines and other things where these people should be bundled or placed, and they are compulsorily made to go through this cure, this counseling, this service, like alcoholics, like drug addicts, like this. And once you have made a law, is to correct these people who have gotten addicted to this. And this sort of a type of punishment or imprisonment like that is more corrective, more reformative, and they will come back to society whole and will contribute their quota. Remember, these people are our own sons and daughters. They are our nephews and nieces, our brothers and sisters. And we have to do things so that it does not hurt them and not correct them, but things that will still hurt them, but then it will reform them and correct them and bring them back better.
Reverend, the Pope, and I mean your current Pope, the head of the Catholic Church, has been making comments in recent times, which comments have been attributed by pro-LGBTQI advocates that he is taking a progressive stance. His latest comments, blessing for same-sex couples under certain conditions. It appears the head of your church is showing some level of tolerance for LGBTQI activities. And yet locally here, you are welcoming with open arms the passage of a law that proscribes it. Even though you do not agree that they should be sent to jail, you agree that it should be unlawful. How do you marry the two?
Well, what I would say is that the press and LGBT people, they listen to the Pope and they listen to him from one side. We condemn as a church universally, and the Pope condemns same-sex activities. But the person as such, we should differentiate between the act and the person who is the victim of the act. So when the Pope talks of being merciful and kind to those who commit this act, that is what he's talking about, the human person who is involved in that. And it is in that line that I'm saying the same thing the Pope is saying, that let's help these people. Do not let us throw them away as if they are some people who should be condemned forever and just inflict some pain into them without going beyond that to reform them, to correct them. But the act itself of homosexuality, we call it disordered. It's not ordinary. It's not normal. It's an aberration, a deviation. And that act is not entertained by the Pope or by the church or by any clergyman. And that is why those who promote such acts, Parliament should go ahead, and the state and the church itself does not accept same-sex marriage. Nowhere has the Pope said we accept same-sex marriage. Rather, you should help these people to correct, to reform them. And that is what the Pope has been saying. So he makes a distinction between the act as an act like murder is wrong. But should we not help the murderer to reform so that he does not commit the murder again? Okay. And it is the same that we are talking about here.
Finally, the president is yet to sign the bill. That's the only time it will become law. There are calls on him not to sign. Are you going to invite the president to sign or not to sign the bill?
Well, you see, the president is the father of the nation. And we believe he will do what is in the best interest of the country. And I cannot imagine the president not seeing the good in this law. He may make certain corrections, like what I have said. Okay, put them in the prison, then what? So he may add, okay, they are in prison, but while they are in prison, let us have certain reforms so that they come back to society more human, more like many of us than they entered into the prison. But I don't think the president will say he will not sign it, especially when he knows that a huge majority, overwhelming majority of the people in Ghana are in support of this law. And he does what the people think is good for them, and what he also knows is actually indeed good for the people.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
You are most welcome. Thank you so much.
That's Most Reverend Matthew Gyamfi.